Hey guys, and welcome back to another CrispFX tutorial. This week we'll be making a basic wipe text intro, and it'll look a little something like this. Alright, so let's get started. So first we're going to create the composition. So composition, new composition. We're going to have the resolution at 1920 by 1080 and have the frame rate at 30 frames per second, and we'll have the duration last about 10 seconds. Now we just need to name this wipe underscore text intro. Click OK. Alright, so now we're going to start off by creating a background. So right clicking in your timeline, new solid. We're just going to leave it at whatever color it is, it doesn't really matter. And we're just going to name this background. Now click OK. Now next up we're going to go up to effects and presets here and look up gradient ramp. Now we're just going to drag and drop that onto our background layer. So next we're just going to change the ramp shape here to radial ramp, and you'll see up here a bit there's an anchor point. What we're going to do here is change that, drag it all the way down here to the center, and instead of having a white background and a black radial ramp, we're going to swap the colors here so it's inverted. Alright, so what we're going to want to do next now is see this little anchor point here. We're going to click and drag that all the way out till we get this sort of look. So after that, just to make this look a bit more interesting, because currently it's a bit of a boring white background, we're going to go grab this paper crunch texture and drop that on top of the background. We're going to hit S on our keyboard and now just scale it down a bit. That's too far. About here. And we're going to change the blending mode to subtract. Now following that, we're going to hit T on our keyboard to open opacity and bring it to around about 30%. That'd be about good. Alright, so now we're just going to add text. So we're going to go up here in the toolbar menu, hit T, click anywhere in the frame you like, as long as you can get the text going. And for the sake of this video, I'm just going to put it in CrispFX. Really, you can put in whatever text you want, but this is what I'm going with. And we're just going to make sure now that this is centered up in the frame. I'm going to leave the blue as it is, because that's the color I would like to stick with. Alright, so now we're going to create another solid. Right click, new, solid. And this time we're going to make sure that the color of this solid is the same color as the text. So just use the little dropper tool here. Do that. And we're going to call this wipe. Alright, so now we're going to go back to effects and presets and put gradient ramp on here as well. So what we're also going to do is now just grab this anchor point here at the top of the gradient ramp and just move this over so it has a bit of an angle. About, I'd say about there looks good. So after that we're just going to change the start color to roughly what we had for the text. So it was probably about there. And we'll do the same thing for the end color, just make it a little bit brighter. But it has to be noticeable about. There we go. Alright, so what we're going to do next is selecting wipe. We're going to hit S on our keyboard and scale this up to about 225%, so it's about this large. Next, and we're also going to hit R on our keyboard to open rotation and change this to about 45 degrees. Alright, so now we're just going to drag the wipe all the way up here, so it's just barely out of frame. Hitting P on our keyboard while the wipe layer is still selected. We're going to go to about 1 second, create a keyframe, head over to around 3-second mark, and just drag this all the way down here, so once again it covers the frame. So now just to make this animation look a little bit better rather than it's just a simple movement, we're going to go toggle switches and modes, and this little icon here is motion blur. We're going to enable it for that. But currently you won't really see much of a difference as it's not enabled in the composition. So right here, the same icon as down there, click that and that will enable motion blur. And this is the sort of preview you get. It looks a little bit better. Alright, so next what we're going to do is we're going to select our wipe layer and the text layer, hit Ctrl D to duplicate them, and we're just going to drag them to the top of the timeline here. So while having the duplicate text layer selected, we're going to just change its color from a nice blue to straight up white. What we're going to do then is going into here to the track matte options, we're going to click here and go alpha matte wipe. So that way when the wipe goes along here, the text comes out as white. So next up what we're going to do is we're going to go to about 15 frames, select the bottom text layer, hit S on our keyboard to open the scale options, create a keyframe there, then go all the way back to the beginning of the composition and create another keyframe. And what we're going to do for this is we're going to scale this all the way up as we can, as much as we can. But because we can't scale this up to where it goes out of frame, we're going to have to create a position as well for it. So we're going to go back to 15 frames, hold Shift and P to open up the position and also keep the scale open. Create a keyframe here, so it stays here when it finishes scaling back to 100%. Going back here, we're just going to take 587.5 and drag that all the way up here. So what we're going to do now to make this look a little bit better is give a minimal movement but have a smooth animation. So what we're going to do now is just close everything here, right click on our timeline, new null object. And we're going to drag this all the way to the very top. We're just going to rename this scale. So once again, hitting S on your keyboard, creating a keyframe at the very beginning, and going to, let's say, 5 seconds, we're going to scale this down to about, let's say, 80%. And we're going to want everything to react to this, so we're just going to highlight everything below it, and in the parent section here, where it says none, we're going to click here, and click scale. Now we're just going to quickly RAM preview this. Alright, so this is what the animation looks like so far. I'm actually pretty satisfied with it, but we're just going to do one last thing to it. So purely just to finish everything off, we're going to highlight everything on our timeline, hit U on our keyboard, hit it once again to open all keyframes that we may have had, and we're just going to highlight all of these, right click on any keyframe, keyframe assistant, and easy ease. This will just smoothen out the animation a bit. But what I personally would like to do is grab these two end keyframes for the wipe animation, make them a little bit faster here, and maybe even go as far as going into the speed graph here, and giving it a bit of a faster takeoff and a slower end out here. Alright, so that's looking pretty good right now. I really like it. Just one last change we have to make here is on the main text layer here. We're gonna enable motion blur onto that, and just in case on the white layer as well. So that's all there is to it. You've got a nice looking wipe intro, but it is basic. But as I continue to make more videos like these, we'll get more into the tricky and stylish introduction clips. I'm thinking of making this intro tutorial a monthly series. What do you guys reckon? Just let me know in the comments below. But on that note, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial and that you found it helpful in any way. If it did, please leave a like. And if you wish to stay updated with the content I upload, feel free to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.